there's a lot of value on authenticity. Everyone's like authentic Indian cuisine, authentic Asian cuisine. We pay a premium for authenticity, authentic relationships. How many people want that in their life? But there is a premium on authenticity. We want something real in our life, but something keeps us from that. Something pushes us to put a show on. And here's another thing. It's almost like we keep making plans that I want to be this. When you're little, everyone wants to be an astronaut, president, prime minister, something, right? Everyone wants to be something somewhere. And we keep making these goals and we keep falling short. So one of the things the Bhagavad Gita, this ancient yoga text, will explain is we don't rise as high as our ambitions. We fall as low as our processes, our systems. We may make high goals, but we may not have the lifestyle to support it. These two things go together, lifestyle and goals. But somehow we think at the end of the year we'll write some New Year goals and they will happen. But there's a gap between what we want and what our life's like. Just understand that those things that you want are not in your life today because your lifestyle is not conducive for it. So let's just examine this running away tendency. Would you say that we live in a somewhat traumatic world? That each one of us had some trauma in our lives, right? It's kind of like we're running away from, like we're living in a post-traumatic kind of world. Like, there's been some trauma, we're running away from it all the time. And we have, like, I'm just giving you the whole situation, right? We have trauma, we're running away from it. We have high aspirations, but our systems fall short. And then we feel dejected. We feel like, I just can't do it. But we're missing something very crucial. Why are we failing? And in the 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, titled Karma Yoga, Arjuna asks this questions to Krishna. Why is it that, I do things that I don't want to do? I know it's not good for me, but why do I do it? It's almost like I'm forced to do it. What's going on? Why do I act like that? And Krishna also actually gives seemingly contradictory points. First Krishna says all about authenticity. He says, what has repression ever accomplished? He says, don't repress. There's no point in repression. Be yourself. Everyone's like, yeah. But right after that, he says, regulation is necessary. You must regulate everything. So it seems contradictory. He's saying don't repress, but then he's saying regulate. Isn't it contradictory? And then the next 10 verses, what follows is a discussion about how the two actually meet, and they're very important. And this is a very important thing, like each one of us is born with a certain kind of a psychophysical nature. Isn't it? It's like you have a certain nature. You're telling me like if you could train for 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day, right? You have a certain kind of a body, certain kind of a mind, and certain kind of intelligence. Each one is a certain kind because of which you perform well as a warrior. Just giving an example, I'm just picking. You may have a different kind of a body, which is really good for a musician or an artist or something like that. And you may do really good as a musician. But if you put you in a warrior kind of a position, you might be like struggling to breathe. You may be an amazing dancer or a cook or something like that. So what I'm trying to get to is each one of us, like, I don't know, you may be a teacher. I'm just making these things up. But each one of us has some natural tendencies. Broadly speaking, the Bhagavad Gita says either we are ministerial, like we're good at giving advice. Our intellect is the place where our strength is. Or we are managers kind of people. We can organize, do things. Or we are mechanical kind of people, like to do things with our hands. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. I think you and I were chatting about it, right? Like last week or something, that some people just want to be told what to do and they're happy with it. So we have our own psychophysical natures. But interestingly, modern education system, what is it like? The snake, the fish, the goat, the elephant, lion, and the man is going to the same school, learning from the same teacher, and everybody has the same exam. And guess what the exam is? There's a rope ladder, and they all have to climb it. The snake, the tiger, the lion, the goat, the man. Can they pass that exam? Not all of them. Maybe the snake will slither its way up, but can the elephant climb it? No. But our society measures everything in dollars. And everyone's got to fit the same mold. So it's a very fundamentally, very frustrating kind of a situation. Very difficult situation that everyone's got to go through the same mold, but everyone's not the same. And then we have all these, like, everyone's unity, pride, equity, all these kind of movements, but we have no clue how are we all equal. Both are true. We are not the same, but we are all the same. But we have no idea on which platforms are these facts the truth. So we kind of like mash it up all together. We're all equal. Why is there discrimination in this world? But we're not all equal. We're all different from a material perspective. But on a spiritual level, we are all the same. But we have zero knowledge about spiritual life. We have zero spiritual activities in our life. We just yell, we're equal, we're equal, we're equal. It's like a child saying, I'm a doctor, let me treat you, mommy. I'm a doctor, let me treat you. And we're like, yes, you're a doctor, yes. You give them a fake tool to test you with, fake thermometer, right? In a very sophisticated way, we're like that. There's nothing out there, but we're just, imitation kind of. So the soul wants to be genuine. We have no idea of how to be in that platform. And the Bhagavad Gita is trying to bridge that gap. So first thing Krishna is saying is, you cannot repress your nature. You cannot take a cat, a dog, elephant, snake, everyone and train them the same way. Everyone's different. Everyone needs to be treated differently and educated differently and work differently based on your nature. Hence he says repression is no point. Because Arjuna is saying, I don't want to fight this battle, I want to get away. I want to be a monk. Krishna is saying, you're a warrior, you can't do that. You'll never be satisfied with that choice. Same way in our lives, like if you say, I want to do this, I want to run away. Or if you say, I want to do this and run away, I want to do this and run away. Everyone says it. The answer is different for everybody. People are different. Spiritual life is not like a blanket that you put on everybody and everyone's like a minion, I got to fit this. It doesn't work like that. So Krishna is actually recognizing we are individuals. We have individuality. And then he's saying you have to work according to your individuality. He's not saying you have to run away. He's saying you got to work according to your individuality. But because we're so used to living, like we're like Mowgli, We're so used to living like the lions or that raised us that we think we're a lion. We're not a lion. We're a human being. We don't know that. This is why Bhagavad Gita is needed. This is why chanting is needed, so we can remember who we are. Spiritual life is not a belief you take on. It is a process through which you remember who you truly are. Our problem is we have forgotten who we are. We're living in a dream. We're living in a dream and it's not real. It's kind of causing some disturbance. So then after Krishna says to Arjuna, repression is no use. Don't repress. Don't try to be someone else. If you're like a warrior kind of a person, you have to fight the battle, but be Krishna conscious. If you're a cook, you got to be a cook, but be Krishna conscious. He's trying to tell him, like, don't repress yourself, see who you are, and then see how to become spiritual in that. Then right after that, he says, regulation is important. Without regulation, you cannot achieve anything. That's the next verse. That's intriguing. Like, why is he saying that right after this? Like 2 words, and he says, you have to regulate your sleeping, you have to regulate what you eat, you have to regulate how you do. And most importantly, he says you have to regulate your contact with sense objects. Rare term that you use. Sense object means eyes like to see something attractive. So the attractive form is an object to the sense, right? What we think is pleasure is just a contact between the sense and the sense object. There's nothing else to it. It's just that contact, there's a moment of contact. And here's the most powerful thing the Bhagavad Gita will explain. The amount of pleasure you get when the tongue contacts a certain food object is the same pleasure that an ant gets when it contacts the sense object. The contact point between the sense and the sense object, the pleasure is the same in all species of life. You may spend millions of dollars having a grand meal at a big restaurant or hotel, or an ant might just live in the hole of the wall and pick up the little piece of sugar that you drop. The pleasure they taste and the pleasure you taste is the same. And I should really make you think what? It's the same pleasure? I'm working so hard. Like all these houses in the street, they're all $1 million houses. It's like all the houses outside. Like, do you see not this house, but the houses next to that, all $1 million houses. And if you ever walk past them, all you can see is a dog from the window. That's it. So somebody's working like a dog so that a dog can enjoy. I'm not criticizing, but I'm actually trying to. It's a reality. You must have noticed too that we have to work so hard to get something, but meanwhile, who's enjoying it? You're not enjoying it. You're just enjoying it in your mind. I can afford it. In reality, the dog is enjoying it. The ants in the wall are enjoying it. The termites in the wall are enjoying it. The cockroaches in the house are enjoying it. You're not enjoying it. Somebody else is enjoying it all. It takes a wise man to see, oh, it's all in my mind. And what's the wise man who's working so hard yearning for? Just want to get away from all this and go to nature and lie down under a tree. But why don't you just do that in the first place? Because that's free. You're busy cutting off all the trees, destroying the environment, to just want to go away and lie down under a tree.